The following program contains the opinions of the host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. It's our 113th try, and we did it again. We're on the air. It's Monday, April 29th, 2024, 1992. I don't know. It all blends together at this point. It's 11 p.m. on the East Coast of the United States, 8 p.m. on the West Coast, 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the Sydney Opera House in Australia, and here in Northeast Minneapolis, it's 10 p.m. Central Time, Daylight Time. I'm Jim Peters, and welcome to another edition of Jim Peters at Night. Like I said, episode number 13, if you're keeping score at home. And of course, I'm here to tell you that our Blog Talk Radio telephone number and audio feed are not working yet again. Now, I talked to these people today. At first, I get a little paranoid. It's like, we run a lot of conservative stuff on this show. There's a whole bunch of people who don't want us. I mean, I don't have to tell you, people are getting docked and shadow banned constantly. I think we're shadow banned on YouTube. I can't quite tell. I'm not really sure. I mean, we've been flagged for misinformation 5 times there in 100 tries. So who knows, But anyway, I talked to the people at Blog Talk Radio. I have the feeling, though, they actually have a serious issue on their hand because we can't connect again. Because of the way the clocks work here, look, putting this fucking show on the air like launching a fucking rocket. It's unbelievable. I got clocks everywhere. And I have to tell you, because the audio and the video are done by 2 separate companies, we try to coordinate this best we can. We're always 2 or 3 seconds off on all of them, so 10 p.m., what the hell, push the button and hope for the best. But I just checked their live directory at Blog Talk Radio, and I have the feeling that nothing is broadcasting. That's my impression. So I guess we're not alone on this. But at any rate, no, you can't call in tonight. See, I have this. See the audio number 563-999. That doesn't work this evening, and it hasn't worked now for 3 or 4 nights in a row. And I think this is the 6th time this month it hasn't worked. So we're not broadcasting on Blog Talk Radio. That's our only audio-only source. But I know it's not that big a deal because at this point, even if you're in your car, you're probably gonna do the audio from YouTube and Rumble from your phone. Who knows? Because you don't want you don't want the video on your dashboard while you're driving. Because I'm quite attractive. I might distract you. Oh, and by the way, speaking of that, to the guy who always texts us in about the fact that you didn't take a shower again yet today. No, I didn't. I was about to get in the shower and something turned up, and I had to abandon my shower. No, that was just like an hour ago. So, yeah, no shower tonight. Nope, sorry. Don't text me, okay? All right. So what do we got going on now? We got a lot going on here. We got it going on the show. Yeah, so tonight it's the month in review panel. That'll be Larry Newman, Don Zorro, Tim Conway. Larry's already here. And Larry, if you can hear me, I can't see your picture yet. I know you're here, but I can't see your pictures. I don't know if you want to try coming out and going back in or, that's called, that feels really good, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay, so that's tonight. We're going to shoot this shit for an hour about the news from this month. All right. Tomorrow night and Wednesday night, the next 2 nights we're taking off. So I don't want to hear about the complaints. I got work got to do, and this is my only job. The work is for the show. So actually, and a family thing came up. So there, Larry, I got you. Thank you very much. You're good. So yeah, we're taking the next 2 nights off. Thursday night, Jeff Meyer, CEO and publisher of Conk News, he's coming on to talk about bullshit. We talk about the news. They're a sponsor. God bless them. So we like that. And then Monday is Monologue Monday. This coming Monday, that's May 6th. I'm just going to take an aside here. We've had the strangest winter. First of all, we have had easily the warmest winter on record. Not even close. We basically didn't have one. And it's supposed to be 70 degrees here. You'll notice I do not have a coat on tonight, and that's because it's not cold in here at all. And it's supposed to be 70 degrees tomorrow. And I think we hit 80 around April 15th, which I think might be the earliest 80 ever. Anyway, it's really weird, but don't text me and don't email me about fucking climate change. I'm going to bring this by. I got this on the rundown for tonight. Yet another study came out this last weekend saying that climate change is complete bullshit. The scientists have finally decided they're done with this crap about kowtowing to get this money, and they're just laying it on the line. There's no such thing as climate change. You got to know that. No, hold it. Let me be precise. There is climate change. The world is warming up. The world's been warming up for 300 years. It appears to be continually warming up. When I say there's no such thing as climate change, what I mean is humans don't have anything to do with it. That's what I mean. But yeah, the world is warming up. No one's arguing that at all. It's been warming up for 300 years, but like Patrick Moore said on this show in October, the first half of those 300 years, there was no industrialization on the planet at all. None. So yeah, there. Stick it to you, But anyway, so don't. But the thing is, it's really warm here. I mean, this is Minnesota. We're not used to this. I mean, it's not unusual for us to have snow on the ground in May, and it's going to be May in a couple days, and we're not even close. We haven't been close to that in at least 3 weeks, if not a month. So anyway, on Monday, next Monday's Monologue Monday as usual, but I got a really great guest on Tuesday. Now, last week we had on Bruce Solheim and Kathleen Marden, both people who say they've been abducted by aliens, right? Okay, we had fantastic conversations with both of them. And not to belittle Kathleen, who's basically like UFO royalty, if you understand anything about that world. She's the niece of Betty Hill, and she talked a lot about that. We had a fantastic conversation with her, with both of them. But I had friends of mine who said that Bruce was particularly compelling. And that's because, I have a friend of mine who watches the show regularly. He doesn't buy any of this UFO shit at all. None of it. He thinks it's all complete bullshit. But he watched that whole interview, and he said that guy was both compelling and believable. What he said to me, he said, I don't think anybody could watch that guy and not believe him. So that's what, and yeah. So, I mean, Bruce has had an incredible career. He's still a professor at Citrus College in Glendora, California. He's been doing that for 26 years. He was he's worked as a defense contractor. He was in the military for quite a while. I mean, the guy's had quite a career, and he's the last person you look at and think is crazy. Well, now Kathleen doesn't look crazy either, but Kathleen spent her entire life in the UFO world. Bruce, if you listen to Bruce, he has too, but he didn't start talking about it until relatively recently. So anyway, the reason I brought that up is because on next Tuesday, we have Robert Powell coming on, and he's written a book. It just came out last week called UFOs, A Scientist Explains What We Know and Don't Know. Now, this guy, you're talking about impeccable credentials. He's one of the developers of flash memory. You know, that stupid thumb drive you carry around in your pocket with all that porn you download? You know that? Well, he's one of the inventors of that. Yeah, you have him to thank for portable porn. You do. He was the director of research at MUFON, the Mutual UFO Director Network, from 2007 to 17. He founded UFON's Science Review Board, and he's currently on the board of the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. This is a bunch of scientists who put together an organization to study UAPs. Robert Powell is a scientist, and and his book is called "The Scientist Explains What We Know About UFOs," and he's coming on Tuesday. And I think, God bless him, and God, knock on wood, bless me. I think the word's getting out that we are a good place to go for the UFO crowd for interviews. I think so. I think that's what's going on here. Well, I've always said that since we started, we're batting way above our pay grade, folks. There's no way we should be having these people on, and yet they show up anyway. So yeah, that's next Tuesday. So to call in tonight, I invite you to call in. You're gonna have to use your camera. You go to jimatnight.com/call. You go to this address right down here. Right, I'm gonna take this thing off the screen in a few minutes because it clutters up we got the guys coming on. It actually clutters up their faces, and especially Don Zarl is very handsome, and we don't want to put this in front of his face at all. So if you want to call in, you got to use your camera. The audio number isn't working, and I encourage you to, if you have questions, text them in. That's the text number right there, 408-458-5088. You can text them in. I got the text going. We don't have the radio going. I was almost going to swear. I'm not going to swear at those people. They're trying. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, we apparently are not the only people on Blog Talk Radio having a problem, and I know they have thousands of customers. So I don't know what's going on over there. I don't understand why technology just breaks down. But folks, it is all magic. We don't know how this works. And actually that's not true. I know exactly how it works, and it's still magic. It works. Little packets flying through the air up to the satellites. Oh, Jesus Christ. So before we put the guys on here, at least 2 of the 3 of them that showed up so far. Let me show you. This is our sponsor here. This is the front page of Conch News right now, in real time. Conch News is a news aggregator. It takes news from 75 different news sources every 3 hours. It goes out on the internet, finds the latest stories, brings them back, and then puts them on the front page in chronological order, regardless of where the source is from. So it's the best newspaper you'll ever find. 75 different sources, all in the latest news is all at the top, no matter where it's from. So this changes every 3 hours. You can come at 10 a.m., read this, and you can spend 2 or 3 hours plowing through this. I'm not kidding. It's that comprehensive, and you can come back at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and about 80% of it is different. And the stuff that isn't gets pushed to the bottom of the page. So the way this works is that the photos are from the articles that they're from. The headlines are not rewritten. If you click through, you go directly to that story. You don't go to the front page. You don't go to an ad, nothing. You go right to the front page. It's slick as hell. I use this all the time. If you're a news junkie, you will love this. And it's free, and you don't have to register. You just go to the conch.com, CONK.com, to see this, and you can partake. It's really, really fantastic. A free resource for you, and we're glad to have them. So there's that. And now I think we're all here, folks. So I'm going to show you 12 seconds of a bumper by Alex K. He did a fantastic job with these things, although I did the music. And then, and we'll put the guys on. Here we go. Yes, look at all those people. Oh my God. Holy shit. All right, now let me I said I'd get rid of the banner at the bottom, and I'm going to, because I don't want to cover up Tim Conway's face. There you go. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm unmuted. Now I have full power.
You have all the power in the world, Don. I've looked forward to seeing you guys. How are you?
Good.
Larry, what's going on?
Not much.
Does Conway talk?
Yeah, he does. He talks too much.
Oh yeah, to yourself.
Hey, Larry, you didn't have any Mexican food before you came on.
No. Yesterday.
Holy crap.
No.
And I mean that literally.
No, that's Jim. He didn't take a shower.
Yeah, that's right. That's me. Yeah, right. It's a story of a lucky lady.
How are you guys? It's been a month.
It's been a month.
Been a great, been a great month. Yeah.
We got it going
on.
It's
been a great month.
Has it been a great month, Larry?
Well, sure.
That's
good. A great month. I'm still here.
Well, yeah, the world's going to hell, but we're all still here.
It's true.
Yeah. So, I have a list of topics. If anybody wants to just jump in, well, first of all, let me tell you about this. So, Now, Larry, you don't live in town here. The other two guys do. That would be town be Minneapolis. So I went to Mystic Lake Casino to see Lewis Black on Friday night. Now, two things about this. First of all, I don't know if you guys have ever been there. It's the largest casino in Minnesota. It might be the largest casino in the entire upper Midwest. It's unbelievably, I don't consider any casinos classy, but it's the closest thing you'll get to Las Vegas outside of Las Vegas. And I'm going to use as a comparison the second largest casino, Treasure Island in Red Wing, Minnesota. I know people that work at that organization. It's apparently entirely corrupt, and you can tell walking in there. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. They just, Mystic Lake has its shit together. And the other thing is, and I don't know if you guys know this too, it's the largest single auditorium. It's the largest theater in the entire metro. It holds 4,800 people. They have a brand new theater. It holds, and I don't know if you guys remember the old Northrop Auditorium at the University of Minnesota.
That's what I was going to say. Northrop used to be that big, like maybe
was that big? That's right.
Or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the last show at Northrop before they closed it to remodel. It was Diana Krall, and I sat in the nosebleeds, and I thought I might as well just stay in my car and listen to the CDs. It's like I was so far away from the stage, But this thing is really nicely laid out. It's one of those theaters that's wider than it is deep, so everyone's kind of close to the stage. So Lewis Black, and he's an urban New York liberal guy. But I got it. First of all, he filled the place. He sold it out. It was pretty freaking amazing. 4,500 seats he sold. But he's really masterful because he was really, his politics. It's pretty kind of obvious. But on the other hand, he made a point not to insult the conservative part of the audience. I mean, it was really, I know he's a pro. He's 75 years old. It's his farewell tour. He's not going to do this again. And he spent some time at the end talking about how much he loved the Minneapolis audiences, and I think it was legit because he's, Jesus, I had a hard time believing he was going to fill a 4,800 seat theater, but he did, But he really, and the guy who did the warm up, I really never caught his name. To my amazement, was just as funny. I mean, it was a fantastic show. And the reason why am I bringing all that up? I'm bringing that up because I'm watching Jesse Waters tonight on Waters, primetime on Fox, and he says that he did a book signing in Florida this weekend, and 3,000 people showed up. He said he signed books for 11 hours nonstop.
I absolutely believe that. I
do too.
Believe that. I mean, so Fox is
Don,
well watched.
Here's my point. I actually got a really long point here. My point is, he said at the end of his talking about this, he said something's happening in America, and I think he's right. I think something is happening in America.
Remember the Zorroism? Remember I told you about the chinks in the armor? Remember I said that? What was it? Must have been about a year and a half ago on the regular Conk show. I kept saying there is something that is beginning to happen. I don't know what my first indication was, but since that day and since Jesus, who was our other cohort here? I've forgotten his name. See what happens when I'm away from
Meyer?
Yeah. That he and he quoted the whole Zorroism thing, and I have pleasure in seeing week after week after week after week that things are starting to happen, and one of them is how sick people are getting of what's going on the college campuses. Because let's be straight about one thing: this is not about the Jews. This is pure and simple about the attempts of socialism and communism this is the wish of the left 50 years ago that tried to get this to happen, and they said they knew exactly what would happen. They knew that we would start to destroy ourselves from within. All they had to do was plant the seeds. They planted it in exactly the right places. They planted it in the universities. They planted it in the popular books that people were reading, and they followed the fifth law of the rules for radicals. They said absolutely mock everything that comes out of your opponent. They did it so that anything that anybody would say would be something that you would go, oh, look at these right-wing fascist idiots. They made sure that every single Republican president, starting with Reagan, oh no, excuse me, starting with Ford, would be looked at as some sort of an idiot. And so I mean, I got to say, it was so incredibly well orchestrated, and we're seeing it right now. This is the battle for our survival as a political species happening right now. Everybody's being made to think that it's about the Jews, and it only is partially. They are the excuse. They are once again the scapegoat, just as they were in the 1930s and for times before that. But this is a much larger thing. Do not be mistaken, citizens. It is not only about the Jews. It's about all of us.
The other thing, Don, is that first of all, you're talking about it was William Ayers, who was part of the Weather Underground, who said, like in 1969, he went to prison. It was in 69 or 70. He got out, and of course, he got out of prison and immediately became a college professor, which I find just hilarious. But he said, no, we are going to take over the world by indoctrinating your kids. And no one at the time even knew what he was talking about, let alone believed him. And they have indoctrinated the kids. And the one thing that's going on the campus right now, I'm interested in your guys' thoughts on this. I don't think the majority of these kids even know what they're protesting. You know, I mean, the Fox News is sticking mics in their faces, and they're talking, and they're fucking idiots. I mean, they don't even know. Half of them don't even know why they're there. Apparently, it's just a good time or something. You know, I mean, that's the thing I don't get. It's like, all right, so in the 1960s, you know, I will say collectively, we're protesting the war, but there's two things going on there. That was entirely organic because we were literally losing friends who were getting killed in the war, and his history has pretty much decided that war was kind of worthless. You know, that all those guys died for nothing. Well, they certainly did because we lost. You know, we pulled out and North Vietnam won. Now this is a completely different thing. These kids don't even. I mean, the funniest goddamn thing I've ever heard ever is Queers for Palestine. It's like, yeah, you try that. You know, yeah, you try that over there. You know what? You know, you're queer for Palestine is going to get thrown off the roof. I mean, it's like, Jesus Christ, what kind of idiots are you? But nope, that's what they're doing. So anyway,
look at the leadership in the colleges now. The college chairman and the people that are running the college, they're behind this. Most of them are supporting it.
Yeah, Larry.
Our education system has collapsed on us.
Let me ask you a question point blank. Something just occurred to me today. Do you think the college administrators are actually getting paid off? It appears that there's a bunch of groups that are paying the kids, and I'm thinking, why not pay the administrators? You know?
Well, I don't think the administrators are getting paid off. I mean, obviously they're raking in a lot of money, but look at their philosophies. Look at these college administrators. They are radicals themselves who have influenced their way up to being administrators, the heads of these universities, and they're not condemning all that's being said until the pressure gets so hard that they have to. So they're fine with it. They're in the company. They're right there.
Tim, how's your dinner?
This is some cherry pie from Walmart.
Oh,
But,
damn.
One of those giant big ones?
no, that's the Costco one, the single serving size.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got confused there.
Yeah, I think Don's right. Don's correct in his theory that people are starting to see through this. But when you watch these left-wing people talk, I mean, from the president on down, they've totally abandoned trying to cover up the false narratives and the lies that they're telling. They don't care anymore.
No,
They're
they
going to
don't.
lie to you, and people they can see through it, and they're tired of it, and they finally see what's happening.
I mentioned this before you guys came on the air, and I mentioned in passing that another study came out this weekend by a bunch of high-level scientists that says climate change is complete and utter crap. And I think the scientists have finally gotten tired of being belittled and also having their funding pulled if they don't agree with the quote-unquote narrative, and they're done with it too. This is all bullshit. I've been saying it's bullshit for a long time. A lot of other scientists are too, and it's finally coming out into the mainstream light that this is bullshit. You know?
How dare you?
Yeah, I know. I'm a climate change denier. I'm terrible. I'm a terrible person.
You remember back in the 60s and early 70s, the whole thing was, hey, what are we fighting for? And now you could just turn around and say, what are we protesting for? They have absolutely no idea. Just like you said.
Yeah.
So,
Well, they're
You know,
professional.
I'm dying to wait to hear from Tim, though.
They're professional protesters. They're getting paid. They get paid to go protest. Obviously, they have to because they don't have a job. They don't have any means of making money any other way. They're getting paid off, and we know where that's coming from. It's filtered down through Soros's, all his different corporations and companies. But and the number of protesters compared to the population is very, very small. But that's all you see on the news.
Well, that's partly the point, isn't it? I mean, the American public's overwhelmingly supporting Israel, like 85%, according to all the polls. So they do these protests to make it look like there's a lot of people who think this way, and there aren't.
And as the Democrats, for some reason, the Democrats will take really minute, small minorities of people and their thinking and promote that as the way things are.
Yes.
I don't understand, but you gotta know what's going on right now with the president Biden making all these changes to the different agencies in Washington D.C. and creating these horrendous rules and regulations, and then right now he knows he's losing, so he's trying to make all these people that work for the government unfireable.
Right. That's right.
And
Now, did you guys watch the White House Correspondents' Dinner at all?
no,
I saw 3 minutes of it. It was when the guy from SNL was up there, just putting on his kid gloves for Biden. It was pathetic.
I watched the whole thing. It was, first of all, the president, bless his heart, it was disgusting. He spent half of his time bashing his rival, and I know I'm thinking that just shows how stupid he is, because the last thing you should be mentioning in a speech is really talking about the other guy. I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with this or not. There's a famous thing about Howard Stern, who's also been in the news recently. I don't know if you guys know this. Minneapolis is the only market Howard Stern ever failed in. And what he would his normal modus operandi is he would go into a market and he'd find the top-rated morning show, and he would bash the shit out of them and insult their wives and their mothers. And sooner or later, the guys would respond. And it was basically free advertising because the other people are talking about him, right? Well,
Right.
He did that here, and Tom Bernard, to his great good sense, didn't acknowledge him at all. They never mentioned he was on the air, nothing. They never talked about him, and he failed. He failed here. Only place he ever did, So you don't want to. Biden talked for only 6 minutes, and he spent half the time talking about Trump. It's like, oh, that's one. And the other thing I noticed too is that a lot of the jokes were about Trump's trials. Nobody laughed. There was no reaction to any of it because everyone knows it's bullshit.
And they know they're next.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Or
Yep.
Conway's Pie is next or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, the things I've been listening here because you can see. And, Jim was talking about the protests in the late 60s and 70s, which were protesting our involvement in the Vietnam War as well as protesting the draft. And those were sort of generic American issues
Yeah.
that people were bringing up. And eventually, as that moved on, the agitators, the communist agitators and stuff, got involved more in making that happen. These protests now are not generic American issues, and I saw a report that CNN did, and okay, I realize I was one of 20 people who was watching, but they were live at Columbia and at USC in Los Angeles, and they didn't talk to the protesters in this report. They didn't talk about the supposed issues. What they did was set up the scenario. Here's what's going on. Here's where the protesters are. Here's where the police are. And then they talked to students who were not protesting. And all of the students they talked to were not in favor of the protest. The protests were disruptive to what they were there to do, to their studies, was the most important things. And some of them seemed, outright frightened by what was going on. And so I thought, well, that is a good angle, surprisingly from CNN, but it was a good angle to show that, this isn't really the general feeling on campus. This is a select group of people. And these people, I think, were, the instigators from the start of the thing. Like you say, the Soros money coming down. I wish I had the concession on the checkered tablecloth head scarves that these people were wearing, because all kind of people who obviously weren't Arab or Palestinian or whatever were going with them draped around their shoulders or whatever. And I thought, that would have been the gig to have there, is to make some money off this myself. The thing that Don Zorro talked about, though, of where we're heading, in those days, all of this activity, this anti-government, anti-war, anti-draft, all that kind of stuff, the liberal outpouring, for George McGovern, who was then seriously trashed in the elections. But all these people thought, well, we're going to change the world. We're going to make, all this happen. We're going to carry this spirit off campus and it didn't happen. It swung entirely the other way. So, we always talked about it as the pendulum, and the pendulum, swings a certain way for a while, and then it has to swing back, and it, never stops in the middle. So
yes, that's a question I have for you, Tim. Why doesn't it stop? Why can't we at least for a while, get the pendulum in the middle? Why?
Well, because most of the people are in that middle section of where the pendulum swings, and most of those people, though, are looking for direction. So they look to the right or they look to the left for the direction. There are always people on the far ends of the spectrum who are active, who are leaders, who have public presence, all of the things that people tend to move toward. And so, the people keep the thing shifting. The people are never just going to accept being in the middle, because that would mean leading themselves. That would mean taking.
Well, so gentlemen, is the problem that the public can't figure out who the real leaders are?
Well,
The real leaders of what?
Yeah.
Of-
If you
of
look back into
us.
2000, the before 2008, we were pretty calm. There wasn't a lot of this stuff going on.
Mhm.
The pendulum was pounding in the middle. 2008, you got a new president that started on this journey to divide everybody, starting with the police, and the black people, and just divide, divide, divide. Now where we're at, we've had 12 years, 15 years of that division, and but I look back at the 2000s before Obama came in, and things were pretty calm. We didn't have a whole lot of this stuff going on. We didn't have racial division. We didn't have problem. I mean, except for Jesse Jackson and his little crowd that kept trying to stir stuff. But
Well,
in reality, we didn't have that problem.
that's the thing I've said all along, is that we're basically, when it comes to the racial thing, we're almost over it. It's
Yeah.
like there were a few remnants, and the thing that people have to understand, and even my liberal friends have to understand this: you're never going to completely get rid of racial hate, because you're never going to get completely rid of any hate. There's people who hate chocolate chip cookies, and they're not going to change.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my thing. I mean, it's terrible, but it's true. You won't so you won't eradicate. The only question is what Whoopi Goldberg said. Well, how did she put it? Consequential racism. In other words, will your race keep you from getting a job? Will it keep you from renting an apartment? That's the stuff that's important. The guy down the street in the corner house who hates black people is always going to hate black people. You're never going to change him.
Well,
don't forget.
2008, the majority of white people voted for Obama.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't forget.
Race wasn't a part of anything then.
Yeah, don't forget. I have said this several times, and I'll repeat it. It is never enough for the left. So even if you get rid of the racism that is consequential, that's actually a very, very good way to put it, people are still going to be upset because of the one guy down the street. And so the most important thing the left does is label, right? So now we call those people generically Karens because of one person who was mistakenly or just wrongfully labeled a racist, even though she wasn't, because of a misunderstanding and because of an overreaction, because of the damned telephones that everybody pulls out. Everything is magnified. We can never forget about that. Is that the problems are way, way smaller than we think. But the left, as Larry said, will grasp onto it. And that's the issue right
and
there.
It's also, well, they politically it's grasped onto because the left has built itself on the federal money handed out. And the federal money doesn't go straight from the government to the person who needs it or to the minority business who wants to start something. It goes through these community organizations. So if we don't have this supposed, diversity gap or whatever this week's term is, then there's none of that money. There's no reason for that money to flow. And that, the money flows out of Washington and they expect something just like all political machines. They take care of their people and their people, fill up the polls with, the right voters. And then the people in the middle that are getting their money, that's their job, is to get those voters out. And they're getting their piece of the action as it passes down through the funnel, ever narrower and narrower toward the end. So it isn't just an ideological thing. There's a very practical reason that all this stuff happens the way it does.
I thought it was real comical that how the left and the president and the Democrats were pushing so hard, excuse me, for money to go to Ukraine because they were running out of time that it takes to get laundered to get back into their coffers. And finally you're starting to hear that being reported, and not just on the conservative side.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Well,
the-
what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and reality? 6 months.
Oh, you're talking my language, Don. I love when you do that.
I've always wondered why when somebody says that's a conspiracy theory, why do they assume that it's false? A conspiracy, it's just a theory.
Well,
Okay?
that's a
Theories are
narrative in
not.
itself, Larry. I mean,
A theory is not
they've turned this term into a
true.
negative term. You know,
right, but a theory is something that you plan for. You don't believe it's going to happen, but you at least plan for it.
yeah. Or conversely, you could say theory is something that is an idea that isn't proven, which is what
Correct.
it is in science. You know,
yeah,
Right.
and
Because
And in science, at least,
it doesn't mean it's false.
yeah, and in science, it has some merit. And in science, most theories are stated as fact, and nobody questions that. Science says, oh, there's, dark matter. We can't see it, feel it, touch it, but it's out there somewhere. And other scientists now are saying, well, the reason we can't see it, feel it, and touch it is dark matter doesn't exist.
that's right. That's
And,
right.
They've
recalculated the age of the universe, and by recalculating it, you get rid of the dark matter. That's what happens.
Hey, can I take a second? Have I told you about my unsubstantiated theory of the universe? Number one is that, okay, so everything they say began with the Big Bang, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, fine. So now we've got the black holes. And what do black holes do? Their gravity is so strong, they just kind of suck everything around. So my theory is that eventually, sometime maybe 1 trillion years from now, all the black holes are going to finally go and merge into this sphere, and the energy from within is going to do what? It's going to create another Big Bang, and we're going to have this conversation all over again in another trillion years after that. We're going to be doing this whole thing all over again.
Yeah. Well, there's
we're going to do it until we get it right.
Well, I'm a believer in dark matter, because every time that Biden opens his mouth, it spews out. But
oh my God, Larry made it funny.
I like it. I thought we were going to get into some horribly racist material here.
No, that's true. I know we were heading down that road, weren't we?
Yes.
Okay, so the other thing that happened this week is that Kamala Harris is getting tired of people making fun of her laugh. So now she's decided that we're all sexist, and my response to that is no. You're an idiot. It had nothing to do with sexism.
Well, that's not a theory anymore.
I haven't heard this. What? When did she say this?
She said it on Drew Barrymore's talk show. She's getting tired of people making fun of her laugh.
Okay, just let's put all those concepts together. Drew Barrymore's talk show. Okay, yeah. now there's a wellspring of intellect right there.
Well, yeah.
Okay. And hold on. So she said that we're all laughing at her laugh, making fun of her laugh because it's sexist. Now wait a minute.
Yeah.
So then we're saying that somebody who laughs like a hyena is stereotypically female? Is that what she's positing?
Apparently, I don't know. It's like
who's being the sexist here?
Right now, you do it. Well, who was it, Larry? Who said this about the fact you do anything wrong, you're basically mocked? So now I'm sexist or I'm racist or whatever the hell it is. She'll throw out something. I'm tired of it. I just say you're stupid. And there's another thing. I've been contending this for a long time. You know what kryptonite is to the liberals? You mock them. You make fun of them. They can't stand it.
They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do. They cannot stand it. I think we should do more of it.
Well, there was something on Comp just today about some girl wore a T-shirt to school that said, "Liberals believe in free speech until you tell them they're wrong." And
it's true.
That's exactly it. And or she got in trouble for her shirt because you can't
Well,
say
I
things like that at school.
yeah, I mean, we'll talk about Kamala Harris. Where in the world did they bring her out from? It's she was a senator, and then she was a DA or vice versa, whatever, and now she's vice president. How in the world does anybody like that ever get to that position? That's
Well,
just
remember,
amazing.
Larry, did you
remember,
ever fix with Willie Brown?
no, well, remember the great expression. Some people are thrust into greatness, and some people have greatness thrust into them. That's how we get Kamala Harris.
She missed on both counts.
Oh my God. Those are words to live by. I think if we do another clip show, I think we'll have to cut that out. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was Willie Brown. Right, that's right. And then, and now she's vice president. It's like, that's what you didn't do, Tim. You didn't sleep your way to the top. You could have done that.
I'm the wrong gender for that.
Oh, no, you're not. No, you're a very attractive man.
No, but I believe that
Children are our future.
I won't say it on the air. I'll skip
What was
it.
that? What?
I'll skip what I was going to say. But
Oh man, I don't believe it.
None of
We're
the rest
holding our
of us
tongues
do.
here. It's unbelievable. Incredible. Oh man. All right, I got more
a
stuff.
lot of self-control here tonight.
So this also didn't really make the news, but I thought, and I actually grabbed. I should put this up on our show blog, because the thing is there's too much stuff going on the screen right now, so I didn't bother to actually try to put this up. But Robert De Niro and a bunch of other actors are now doing dramatic readings of the transcripts from Trump's trial for MSNBC. No fucking lie, and they actually have a graphic that says Robert De Niro reads the Trump trials.
Well, I guess
Are they
that's
leaving
really
out the-
popular since I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, it's on MSNBC. Nobody watches. So
Are they leaving out all of the parts that exonerate him?
I don't know what they're leaving in and out, Larry. I don't.
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing's a big freaking joke. Well,
Their first witness said that he didn't do anything.
yeah. So, but there's one thing here, though. There's either two real possibilities. He's either going to be convicted or it's going to be a hung jury. The jury, that a New York jury, it's what they call a nullified jury. It's a biased jury. They're not going to let him off. So and the thing is, if he gets convicted, he might get thrown in jail for a while, and if that happens, I think he wins the election. That's what I think. But,
He's going to win it now. I mean, everybody's looking through all of this stuff, and these Trump executions that they're doing is doing nothing but winning the election for him right now.
yeah, all the stuff. I do think something does have to be taken into account. Possibly, there are people, apparently, especially independents, who said a certain number of people said if he was convicted, they would not vote for him. So I don't know if that's how much of a difference that's going to make. Any thoughts?
Well, I don't even understand the logic of something. If he's convicted, they won't vote for him. Okay, so if he goes through this thing, then he's not convicted, like, whew, okay, I don't understand. You either support the guy and think he's being railroaded, or you're saying that, well, I'm going to put my hands in a jury that is clearly going to be prejudiced one way. I can't wrap my brains around that particular set of thinking.
But apparently that's true. That is true. That's the way it works. I know I can't either.
Yeah, I'm in court all the time and work with the judges and the prosecutors, and I sit and watch this stuff. And this is really interesting on this court case in New York. There is no crime in the filing that was made by the district attorney. There's been no crime identified in this case. So why are we having a trial? You have to have a crime to have a trial, but there's been no crime as designated by the district attorney.
And you're not the only person who said this, Larry. I mean, all the Jonathan Turley, a guy who I think is above reproach, and also he's a liberal. He also said there's no crime here either.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, well, I looked at the actual indictment today, and it's falsifying business records in the first degree is what the charges are. And there are 34 counts, but that's because each time that Trump wrote a check to Michael Cohen, what the district attorney is alleging is that Cohen paid off Stormy Daniels, and then Trump paid Cohen, but he didn't make a repayment of this loan or advance payment that Cohen made. He was paying him an attorney fee, and therefore he falsified the business record. That's what the thing is. Now it's a very slim kind of thing, and proving that your Cohen say some stuff, but
paying the attorney, paying Stormy Daniels to keep quiet is not a crime.
Well, the other thing is, even if
paying Stormy Daniels to keep quiet is not criminal. What they're saying is that he falsified the business records by, is that me? Trump falsified his business records by claiming that was an attorney fee rather than a repayment of the loan. So that's
but you guys know even
line.
that's a misdemeanor, and that statute of limitations has already expired on it. I mean,
Well,
this is crazy shit.
Well,
You know?
there's these charges. So I say it's a Class E felony, which is the lowest kind of felony in New York State. But yeah, it's very slim. It's just a very thin line there to say what's happening. And the jury, I don't know that they're necessarily prejudiced. It's going to be a lot to prove that what was happening was an attempt to falsify business records, because that is the actual charge. That's what they got to prove. And so he paid this guy. He made 34 payments to this guy over a period of a year or something. And the guy was his attorney, and he paid him attorney fees. So, the only case against Trump that seems to have any actual weight to it is the one with his businesses claiming one value for loans and another value for taxes. That's the only one that seems to have any actual legal merit to it. That's already been decided. That was a civil case. He's got to pay some money, and all the rest of this stuff though just doesn't add up.
Well, you look at how many people Trump has working for him, how many attorneys in his office, how many office people. He probably didn't even know those payments were going to an attorney, much less what they were for.
Right.
With the kind of business that he has, he probably had no idea. He might have seen some papers where X amount of dollars got paid to this attorney, that attorney, whatever. But in the course of business and on a business of his magnitude, he probably had no idea what the payments were for.
And you guys know better than me, but my impression is to bump this up to a felony, you also have to show intent too. So, Larry, I mean, your point is taken. It's like if he didn't even know, I mean, you supposedly have to show intent that you actually willfully was trying to, screw things up.
In a criminal trial, yes, you do.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
this is not a trial, and people across the country, the common man, sees that. They know that. It's just common sense. They see it. And that's why you're seeing the kind of runaway numbers that he's getting on these polls.
Yeah.
Well, all I ask of Trump is that God forbid he actually get convicted and go to jail. While he's in jail, please don't write a book, because that would be what you call an unforced error, because the Hitler Mein Kampf comparisons would never ever end
That's true.
after that. So just, Donnie, if you're listening, and I know you listen, I know
Yeah.
you listen to the show, and I said just tweet every once in a while if they give you a phone, but do not write a book while you're in there.
Yeah. Well, Waters on a show tonight, he made a very interesting observation, I thought, and that is, so the trial is keeping Donnie off of the campaign trail, but it's also keeping him highly disciplined because he only has a few minutes every day to actually talk to the press. So he's making the most of it. And meanwhile, Biden is going out. And once again, I kept track of this for a whole year. Biden went to, where was it? Florida this last weekend. 30 people showed up. It's like nobody comes out to see this guy. Nobody.
Trump goes
Nobody
to
has
a
for
construction
years.
site. Trump
What
goes
was
to
that?
construction. Trump goes to a construction site before he goes to the courthouse.
Hundreds of
and he's got
people show
thousands
up.
of people there.
Right, hundreds. Right.
That was beautiful. Did you see the video from
Yeah.
that particular
Yeah.
experience? That
Did you
was
see the
wonderful.
video of Biden in Florida? There's nobody
Which-
there. It's like,
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
I hate to say it, but that's also what happened the first time around, if you recall. Trump got tons of people everywhere. Biden got nobody, and guess who
Yeah.
wound up
Yeah.
swearing in.
Trump
So I
goes
don't
into
know.
a convenience store and everybody is cheering him and getting hugs and supporting him and everything. And Biden goes into the convenience store and nobody wants to talk to him.
That's right. Nobody
Yeah,
does.
and not only that, he copied what Trump did. He literally copied what it was. It's like good Lord, what are who are his handlers? A
Yeah.
bunch of 13-year-olds? Honestly,
There's
I don't
a
understand
name
it.
for this in the American vernacular. It's lame. That's lame. You just don't go, I mean, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Who is handling this guy? And then have you seen, you see pictures of them every now and then. Now, they look like 25-year-old women, They look like they're just right out of college. If you ever
Yeah.
seen any of these people.
And they're too old for him. He says, why can't you get the younger ones in here? The high school girls. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
God. I know if we went long enough, you guys would say something.
the chief of staff, everybody knows the name of the chief of staff of presidents because they're always involved in everything. Who's Trump's chief of staff? You don't know the person. I just imagine at some coffee clutch back in the break room saying, what are we going to have him do today? Or what are we going to have him say today? And then he comes out and says, well, who can I steal the material from? Because, that's been his MO since way back. Well, law school, I imagine it was started way before law school. So,
Oh yeah, well, he truly is the thief of bad gags.
This Howard Stern thing was a total flop. I don't know if any of you've seen any of that Howard Stern interview, but
I did not.
It made Biden well, and Stern too. I mean, Stern was softballing things that just was pathetic.
Oh,
I
Stern.
mean, of all people, what does Stern have against Trump? Trump has been great for New York. I don't get what Stern's big bugaboo with Trump is. What's his problem?
I think COVID made Stern crazy. He didn't leave his
You
house
may be
literally for
right.
months. It's like, I don't.
What? He was in a hospital?
No. He didn't leave his house for months.
Oh, all right.
Stern did it.
All right.
He went completely nuts over COVID.
Good Lord.
Well,
Good Lord.
I mean, I hate. I kind of agree with a lot of people who said, Stern's cultural influence is pretty much gone. And not only that, I don't know if you guys will have Sirius. He only works 3 days a week. He's basically like the Johnny Carson of radio. So, it's like, I mean, he's hardly ever even on the radio anymore.
Yeah,
I can't say anything. I work one night a month on Monday nights, last Monday night of every month.
Well, that's because you're Pat Sajak
Here.
can get paid $15 million a year.
Yeah, well, Stern, I'd say, most people under 50 don't know who he is, and none of them care
Right.
who he is. And that's the thing about these people. Why does anybody important do an interview with Howard Stern?
I don't get
Because
it.
they know they're in total control of it. This guy he's desperate to get his name out in front of people. They give him a script and he follows it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would,
I think Greg Gutfeld tonight had probably the best comment. Okay, and take this from coming from Greg Gutfeld. Okay,
Okay.
now Joe Biden couldn't understand what Howard Stern was saying because Howard's head was so far up Biden's ass that it was muffled.
Yeah, of course. That's right.
That's what Gutfeld said, not me.
Yeah.
That's
I
okay.
deliberately
That's a good
don't
one.
watch Gutfeld before we do this for a reason. I tape it. I watch it when we're done.
Yeah. Good.
I would never, if I wanted to interview one of these people running for president or senate or whatever the hell it is, I would never give them my questions in advance. If they gave me a list of what's, off topics, topics that were not allowed or whatever, I would throw it away and not look at it. But of course, I never get to talk to them. In today's world, they don't have to talk to you if they don't want to.
Well, that was the deal with Stern interview this week. I mean, every question he gave to Biden was scripted by somebody because there were things there that Stern would never be able to know, and they were all softballs and questions about when you were a kid, and how would he know that? And it just was.
Yeah, and I'm sure they
terrible.
pitched this to media personalities. You can interview the president, but you have to ask him the questions we give you. Now, there's some people who are probably so desperate and or corrupt that they do it. I would tell them to go fuck themselves, but
well, it's not just the desperate and corrupt. I mean, people in 60 Minutes, people on these major news outlets do the same thing. Now once they're in the room and they're sitting there and the cameras are rolling, they might throw in some questions of their own. But generally, just to get the person in front of you, at the microphone, you've got to agree that these topics are off limits. These are the approved questions, all that kind of crap. It's the politicians run the media. They dictate the terms, and you can't sit down and really question these people like you should be able to.
And Mr. Conaway, that's why you're smarter than me. That's the reason. You know that stuff. I don't. I just tell them to go fuck off. And I'm sitting here with my $5 an hour show, So right. Okay.
Hey guys, so are we ready to admit that Don Zorro is probably right about his predictions about Tulsi Gabbard?
I don't know,
more,
guys. We have a caller. I'm going to put this person on. I don't know if we have a picture, but hello, Paul Allen. Are you there? Hello. Hello,
Paul. Wake up,
Paul. Okay. Guess
Okay.
he's gone. All right. Okay. Very good. All right. So you want us to
Well,
admit that you're
he
wrong
used
about
to-
that you're right about Tulsi Gabbard?
yes, because she is getting more. Again, I like things that are gradual, and with Tulsi, she is picking up more and more of this quiet steam that I like when something good is going to happen, because I think the best things don't steamroll. I think the best things happen very, very gradually. And I think that there has been more a buzz. What was it? David Rubin was interviewing her, and she's definitely behind Trump. And she basically came out and said, "Well, you know, if he did ask me, yeah, I'd go with him," which she'd be crazy not to.
All right.
And I don't need for her to agree with Trump or me 100%. I don't need it, nor do I desire it. But
What do you desire there, Don?
Tulsi Gabbard as vice president or my maid for a day. Because I have just the outfit picked out.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I do.
Oh my God.
So-
Okay. You want to put that on and send a picture to us?
Oh, no.
I know. It's not for you. I know.
You saw where DeSantis spent several hours with Trump this
Oh my
weekend.
God. What, Larry?
Say that again, Larry.
DeSantis spent several hours talking with Trump this weekend. in
Oh, I
Florida.
thought you were talking about.
Oh, that's right.
DeSantis
They
wearing
kissed
the
and made
outfit.
up this weekend. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It was on Conk News.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kong News is great.
That's right.
Get all
That's
your
right.
news there.
But you could. I'll say you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Tulsi's going to be the VP pick. You watch.
Okay. All right. You're all right.
What?
Oh,
Where did Jim go?
No, we lost Jim.
he left us all alone.
Oh my God. Hold on.
Oh no.
Hold on just a second. All right.
Okay, that
Yeah, I
was
know.
a first.
I don't know what we lost. Whatever.
What the hell?
we lost him. Yeah, I know. I know.
Tim.
It's like it's different. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. Are you okay, Tim?
We just got transported.
Yeah, we've had. Yeah,
Aliens.
actually, I'm Tim. We just switched bodies.
So we're running fiber optic here now. So I don't think that had anything to do with that, but no. Whatever.
So, what's your next topic?
Okay, my next topic is Paul Allen's come back. So, Paul, are you there? Can you hear us? Do you know who you're calling?
Is he the
No,
owner of the
He
Seattle
doesn't.
Seahawks?
No. Oh, take him off. Okay. All right. Sorry, Paul. Okay, let me see. Next topic.
This is the quietest bunch of people I've seen in a long time.
I know it's a dead air. It's a new thing around
Yeah.
here.
I know. It's probably because of.
I got
Okay.
fresh
Well,
air
here's
over
something
the
interesting. The
weekend.
White House has said if Biden wasn't president, inflation would be worse. How do they know?
Worse than what?
I know.
Gambia?
It's like it's so terrible. It's unbelievable. And,
How
I'm
could
not.
it be worse?
Say again, Tim.
How could it be worse? I mean,
Yes,
how,
I don't know. That's what they're saying. That we should be lucky that Joe Biden's president. Otherwise, it'd be worse.
Oh, and this is the White House saying this.
Yes, that's right.
And,
Okay.
and everybody wonders why his numbers are falling. People
Hey,
don't believe that.
does anybody believe this business about Jean-Pierre might be getting the heave ho or getting a lot of pushback? I don't know. First of all, I've always thought she was really cute, but that's kind of it. That's about it. She
I
doesn't.
wondered how she got
She's
there.
bad at her job.
She's dumber to
Yeah,
bottom.
she's very bad at her job.
Mhm.
I think it's real, if only because the reports have said it, and I'm under the impression, based on interviews I've heard with her personally, not from the podium, that she thinks she's doing a fantastic job. She's completely has
Oh, does
no.
Kamala.
Yeah, right. She's no.
You gotta love it when people do self-assessments
Yeah,
of their
I know.
own performance.
It's completely wrong. Her self-assessment is completely wrong, and that's why, therefore, believe that that this is actually going on. They're trying to get rid of her. And then you look at her compared to John Kirby. Now, okay, all these people are lying, but that's part of the job. I think Kirby's fucking masterful. I'd hire that guy in a second.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, he is good.
He's
very
really good. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to go back to like, what's the name of the blonde woman on Fox News who did it for Trump? Oh God, I'm not.
Oh, Kellyanne,
No, not Kellyanne.
the other blonde one.
The other blonde. Yes, the other blonde. Yeah, Kayleigh McEnany. Yeah,
Oh, McEnany.
she was really good. She was good too. You know, and No, this is bullshit. I mean, this woman doesn't know what she's doing, and she thinks she's great. Okay, God bless you. You know, I don't
Well,
know.
you know, what they could do is just get rid of the position altogether, because when was the last time Trump came into the White House reporters' room there and took questions from anybody? Does anybody know? I mean, he never, ever shows up, not once a week, not once a month. It's been a couple of years since he's been in there. And all she does is say, well, we're doing a great job. So they could just put up a sign that says, we're doing a great job.
Yeah,
And, you know, solve the problem that way.
right. Or a puppet or something. You get a little puppet behind the podium.
Now,
You
the
know?
problem is that they were.
Yeah. Yeah. And they do have the puppet on the podium, by the way.
All right, we got more callers, but I don't know what's going on here. still don't have pictures. This is John Dave Irving.
Hey, can you guys
John?
hear me? Hello?
Yep.
Hello,
I can hear you.
Mr. Irving. Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Very nice.
We
So what
can't
do you
see
guys
you,
do?
so go
I
ahead.
don't have a camera.
Okay, no
unfortunately.
problem, no problem.
So what are you guys talking about? What's up? It's good.
Wow, what are we talking about?
What are we talking about?
What do you want to talk about, John?
Up until you called, we were talking about you, John.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about, John?
Well, I was wondering, do you guys think that are you guys more of like gooners, or do you guys?
More of what?
I think he asked if we were breeders, and
Oh.
I pride myself in being.
Yeah, and I think we lost him too. Are you still there, John? Hello? All right, well, I know Don's a breeder for sure.
Oh, absolutely!
And
Everywhere I go.
I know Tim is, and Larry. I'm under the impression you're a breeder. I guess that just leaves me. Then. Am I a breeder? Well, I was a long time ago.
Maybe he said we were mouth breathers.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
it.
yeah, maybe. Well, I'm a mouth breather for sure.
We're getting interference from your spacecraft, Jim.
What was that? What?
Yeah.
We're getting interference from your spacecraft. I think
Oh yeah,
you've got it
that's right.
too close to
Not me.
your
Not me. This thing is made of
Hello.
aluminum.
Hey,
Hello.
Paul.
Can
Paul.
you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
There we go. How you doing, fellas?
Hey,
Very
good.
well,
How you
Paul.
doing?
What's
I'm
your
doing fine.
contribution?
Thank you for asking.
What's on your mind?
I wanted to know, what do you guys think of niggers?
Oh,
I knew
Jesus.
it. Yeah.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
The,
Okay.
What's
the
wrong?
Howard Stern moment.
Yeah.
here.
Right.
That's what I
the,
figured.
yeah, that's the very first troll we've ever gotten ever.
No. I think John was part of the thing. I think these guys were a team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
you know, but it's pretty good for a guy that just like chews his mouth. You know, this is for instead of food. You know, that's guy's got no lips. He'd be walking around like this. He chewing on his lips all day long.
And of course, obviously want to put their pictures on the screen too. So
No,
you know,
that's the other reason. They had cameras. They just didn't want their faces.
Yeah, right,
It's-
right.
So
right.
you know,
And
there you go.
we used to have instructions up how to mute your camera, but I took them down since we got their Blog Talk Radio telephone number, which of course now doesn't work. So, and those of you wondering, I mean, I announced this at the top of the show. We are not on Blog Talk Radio tonight, and the phone number doesn't work. And I talked to them, and it's like, the whole thing seems like a big mess. And I was getting a little paranoid because I was wondering if they were shadow banning us, but I don't think so. I went to the live directory, and I don't think anybody's working. So, whatever. It's all magic, guys. You know, it's like we talking to the freaking mic and put in all the packets go flying all over the place. And
Have we got stuff going on in the chat?
It
Say again?
goes into the cyberspace. Wherever that is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all a bunch of telephone lines, people. The cloud.
yeah.
It's a box with a computer in it at the end of a telephone line.
That's right. That's what it is, Tim.
That's it.
That's the cloud, right?
You want to know something? You want to know the cutest thing about Don Zorro? The first time I went to Puerto Rico, I was about 8 years old, and I brought a little paper bag with me. Do you know why I brought the paper bag? Because I wanted to stick my hand out the window with the bag and get a little piece of cloud, so I could take it home. Isn't that cute?
Oh, you didn't try.
I mean, that's an actual story about for the first time I got in a plane. I thought I was going to be able to stick my hand out the window and get some cloud, like it was some cotton ball or something.
Now, if you land in Denver, you can see the UFOs fly across or next to your plane. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but some woman. Oh no, actually, it was LaGuardia. Some woman's just she is filming their landing. This is about 3-4 days ago. No, about a week ago. She's filming their landing, and all of a sudden, this damn UFO literally just flies right in front of her camera. It's like, well, I don't know.
And it wasn't you?
It wasn't me, and it wasn't anybody I know.
And it wasn't a piece of the Boeing aircraft.
No, it wasn't a piece of the Boeing airplane either. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
No.
This Boeing thing. Every 3 days, there's another like Boeing aircraft that something fell off of, but what hadn't been coming up in the stories until recently is there was one that left out of Oregon the other day. I think it was heading cross country to New York, and the landing slide thing was coming loose on it. They had to turn around and go back. Well, they said the plane was 33 years old. And some of these other planes, I started looking that they had these problems. They're 25 years old, 27 years old.
Yeah.
Now, taking off, defying gravity, the flying part is, it's not that hard. It's defying gravity to get into the air.
Yeah.
The mechanics of flight, but getting into the air is tremendously hard on the aircraft. So you imagine that you've got your Ford F-150 or your Subaru or whatever, and you take off. You go from 0 to 200 miles an hour in 10 seconds, 2 or 3 times a day, day after day for 33 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No wonder
Right.
These things are falling.
Right. Well, and so the Concorde, the situation with the Concorde could have potentially been even worse, because what the Concorde did, I have never flown on it, but people that I knew that had gone it, what they said the experience was like is that you have the initial takeoff, and then you get about 25,000 feet up, and the pilot gets on and says, listen, you're going to feel like we're about to take off all over again, and then the thing goes supersonic, and it literally feels like you're once again doing a takeoff, and that's when the thing goes in outer space and comes down. But that was, I always felt bad about that whole situation, because I think it got a bad rap, a little bit like the Ford, like the Audi and the whole business with it supposedly, taken off. They say there was a joke after a while. They said, where the worst place to be was. Let me see if I got this right. In front of an Audi and behind a Pinto.
You probably have to be our age to understand why that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But talking about the Concorde, in some ways the Concorde was way ahead of its time, but in some ways it wasn't. I mean, it was an extremely inefficient aircraft. It burned fuel like no tomorrow.
Right.
You got the goddamn sonic boom. Now they're supposedly, I can't remember which companies at Boeing or somebody else. They think they've solved the sonic boom problem. So now another aircraft, they're going to try to do another commercial supersonic aircraft now. So I don't know.
The sonic boom is a problem?
Yeah, because it's a problem because people on the ground don't like it. And
who gives a crap? What?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
No. People don't like it. People don't like it. They don't.
That's scary.
Is this thing?
No.
Hello?
Oh no.
Hello.
This
Hello.
ought to be good.
No,
Hello,
no,
can
actually, I think I know this guy. Think?
Yes, this is Think.
Yeah.
Can I play you guys a clip that I recorded during COVID? This is a very, you see, this is about censorship. A lot of people don't believe that the media is controlling the narrative by censoring us. I heard you guys talk earlier that Biden is doing the same exact thing that he did back then when Trump was doing his rallies going all around. Biden was stuck in his basement, but yet he still won. And the reality is Biden didn't need to do anything. The media did all the work for him by censoring all the narrative. And the thing is, if you control the narrative, you can control the outcome. Anyway, let me play this clip for you, and you tell me what you think about this.
Well, hold it. Just saying. Think, is this just an audio clip?
Yeah, it's an audio
Okay.
clip. It's
All
an
right.
audio clip that I don't think they do it anymore.
Okay.
This is me asking Google something, okay?
Go
During
ahead.
the
Oh, no.
COVID incident.
Here it comes, guys.
Yep. So.
No, this guy's legit, Don. I know this guy.
Oh,
The deadliest flu season had a death toll significantly lower than Trump's claim, with the CDC estimating that 61,000 people died in 2017-2018.
So did you hear that? Did you hear what's played?
Yes.
Yeah, 68,000 people. Well,
But before that, see, what I had said was, okay, Google, tell me how many people died. And Google answered this. Unlike Trump's claim, 64 million people died. Do you understand? I asked Google, okay, Google, how many people died? Google replied, unlike Trump's claim, 64 million people died. Why did Google have an opinion?
Yeah. No, that's a good point.
Because everything is, when you come to computers and even with AI, you have to put what you want in there for it to come back out. So somebody put that in there. They put that text in there for Google to read back.
That's exactly right. If you were to ask a calculator, what's 2 times 2? The calculator should reply 4. The calculator would not reply. Unlike Trump's claim that 2 times 2 equals 10, the real answer is 4.
that's a good example. That's a good analogy, Think.
So
you're absolutely right.
I just wanted to jump on and say that if you don't believe that we are being censored and there's a narrative being pushed on us, I think that's a prime example of what I just played right there.
Absolutely
I don't think,
right.
yeah. Anyway, thanks for having me on, Jim.
No.
I just wanted to jump in and say
Thank you, Think. Thanks for joining. I really appreciate it, and thanks for the clip too. And also, I just want to point out before you go, we've done 113 shows. We've been flagged by Google 5 times so far for misinformation. So
what?
Yeah, I thought I told you that, Don. Yeah. This
5 times? No. I hadn't heard this.
This show has been flagged. Well, before the 100th show, this show was flagged 5 times for misinformation.
Well, this is a badge of honor, isn't it?
Well, kind of. And I've always just gone to the assumption that sooner or later Google or YouTube will can us. I am.
Sure.
Then please let me, I wanted to leave, but since you brought up that subject, I want to add this. I've never been censored for anything. I only have like 200 friends on Facebook, right? And when I think, oh man, I'm going to go into some conspiracy stuff, but accept my conspiracy, accept that I'm a loony right now, okay? Accept that I'm crazy, and just allow me to say this. I truly believe that they use coronavirus to get Trump out of office, 100%. I've never seen Google censor people, YouTube censor people, Facebook censor people, Twitter censor people. All these social media platforms at one time censored everybody. All you had to do was say something bad about Trump, or you said something bad about the narrative of the coronavirus. I posted videos of actual doctors saying that the coronavirus is not as bad as these so-called media was making it out to be. And by the way, they had to change the name from coronavirus to COVID-19 because coronavirus meant the flu. So they had to change the name of it. And every time we were posting up anything about the coronavirus, like doctors saying it's not real, you shouldn't get the shots, they were just banning us, saying that it was false information. Yeah. I posted a picture of Biden's mansion like his 3 mansions, and Facebook banned me for a week because they said that that's false information.
Of course it is. Yeah, that's you did something bad to the president. You're wrong.
That's right. Anyway, thanks for having me on, Jim.
Yeah,
I better
thanks.
jump.
You're
coming on,
absolutely
Jim.
right.
Really
Take care.
appreciate it. Anytime, okay?
The only thing that I'll disagree with what Think said was about how bad the corona was. I mean, I had a really dear friend who literally almost died from it, but he was saved by the by ivermectin. It's pretty not ivermectin. It was the other thing that everybody was playing down that they were saying was a lot of garbage, and that's actually
what was that? I can't remember now.
I can't remember what the hell it was. Did it start with an H? I don't remember.
Oh, hydrochloroquine.
Thank
Something
you.
like that.
That's it. The
Right.
hydrochloroquine.
Chloroquine.
That's what they
remember that.
wound up giving him. And so I agree with Think is that I don't think that necessarily they came up with in order to screw Trump, but what they did do is that as soon as they came out, they found every possible angle that they could to screw Trump over with it. They took as much advantage of it as they could. They pumped up the kind of information that they wanted, the kind of information they didn't want to
Yeah.
hear. They downplayed it. So I kind of agree and disagree a little bit with what
I think there's no doubt that they did that, Don. There's no doubt at all they did that.
I can tell you for a fact that the National Health Organization changed death certificates that all the hospitals use.
Yes.
They changed the death certificate to where the COVID was a primary cause of death, regardless of what you died from.
Right. I know
And
that.
I know doctors and nurses that I've talked to. Yeah, it was.
They got
you
more
might have
money.
Died from a car wreck, and it was COVID.
Right. They got more money for it. That's why.
I will risk being a conspiracy theorist along with Think, but I do this regularly. I am not. It would not surprise me at all if the Chinese actually not only came up with the virus in the lab, which I think is pretty obvious, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me at all if they released it deliberately too. I thought
Sure.
it's a
Oh, yeah.
fantastic experiment. Let's take something that doesn't kill a lot of people, just a few, and put it out in the wild and see
Let's
how
see
the
what
West
happens.
reacts. Right,
Yeah.
and we lose
Well-
our freaking minds.
Well, and since we're on theories, I believe all of these trials against Donald Trump are proof that people who got the vax are developing psoriasis, which apparently is the #1 disease in America,
Oh,
based
interesting.
on the amount of advertising for psoriasis.
What about my colon, Tim? What about my colon?
God, that
Your
little,
colon has
that
psoriasis.
little fucking shit collection box. Talking shit collection box. I mean, that's some happy news.
Yeah.
All right, with that, guys, I'm going to let you guys go.
Well, wait. I have to tell you what happened to me this week.
That's right.
I was
I
at
know.
I was in a bar this week. and
Yeah,
I've just
I know.
been
I'm
Just
sorry.
minding
Sorry about that,
myself,
yeah.
minding my own goddamn
Yeah.
business.
Uh-huh.
And this guy sits down, and he's got this little like guy sitting on his shoulder. It was about this big.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking at him, and the guy orders a drink from the bartender, gives him his rum and coke, and just as he's about to take it, the little guy jumps off and knocks it out of his hand, and I'm going, what the hell? And the guy goes, give me another rum and coke. Bartender gives him a rum and coke. Just as he's got it to his lips, the little guy jumps down, knocks it out of his hand. This happens like 3 or 4 times, and I said, dude, I'll buy you the next drink, but what's with this little dude on your shoulder? And he said, well, I was out in Saudi Arabia on this little trip, and I see this this thing shining in the middle of the desert, and I pick it up, and it's a lamp, and I pick it up, and I want to see what's written, and I rub it. Out pops this genie, and the genie says, thank you for releasing me from the lamp. I will grant you any wish you want. And I said, I'm all set for money and houses and stuff. He said, what? He said, what I'd really like is a 9-inch prick. And here he is. I mean, who else would knock your drink out of your hand repeatedly, right? I
That's
mean,
with the 9-inch brick. That's right. And with that, Larry thanks you.
yes.
And Tim thanks you too. And Don, I thank you. Thank you very much.
My
Gentlemen,
pleasure.
I really appreciate this very much. Now I'm going to do a little more of the show, part 3, when you're gone, because now I talk about the UFO stuff, and you guys don't want to be around for that. I know that. So.
Y'all have a great week.
Yeah, nice seeing you, all you guys. Appreciate it.
Good to talk to both of you.
Yeah,
Good.
good to see you.
Yeah, okay, guys. We'll see you. That's our month in review panel. That's from left to right, top to bottom, Larry Newman, Don Zero, Tim Conaway. And I'm Jim Peters. And thanks for sticking around. Okay, so we got a little more left. I got a couple more things I want to go through here. This is part 3 of the show. I know I should call it the C block, but I don't, because I started typing part 3 on the rundown. I've never quit. So I got 2 things here. Oh, and so what is part 3? Part 3, we talk about science stuff. We talk about all the weird shit, paranormal, all that sort of stuff too. I want to preview this again. A guy named Robert Powell is coming on Tuesday, not tomorrow, a week from Tuesday. That's the 7th, if I'm right, I think. He wrote the book UFO. Hold on just a second. I'm going to actually read this. He wrote the book called UFOs, The Scientist Explains What We Know and Don't Know. It's next Tuesday, May 7th. So, and I forgot to mention this. He actually, I think maybe I did. This guy, Robert Powell, is actually one of the developers of Flash Memory, that thumb drive thumb drive you carry around. Yeah, he did that, of all those sorts of things. So we got 2 things here in the science news. One is, and I've talked about this in the past, about 5 months ago, Voyager 1 spacecraft, which was, if I'm right, was launched in 1973, if I'm correct, and it's 15 billion miles from Earth. It's the only single thing that's by humans that's ever left the entire solar system. Well, it stopped transmitting about 5 months ago, and they thought the thing was done. I mean, well, so what? It's been 51 years, right? It's been 51 years, and they thought they knew it had to run out of power, and that's really interesting. Both Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 had nuclear-powered electrical engines. So, and there apparently there was enough fuel in that thing to last for like 200 years or something like that. So they didn't think it'd run out of power. They just thought, got hit by a meteor or something, But at any rate, so they thought it was dead. Well, and I had to look this up today. It's 15 billion miles away. It takes 22 and a half hours for a radio signal to reach it from Earth, almost a whole day. So the programmers are sending shit. They're trying to wake the thing up. Well, they finally actually succeeded. It's working again after 5 months, which is an incredible feat. I mean, it's a day. It takes a day to get the radio signal there. It's way, way outside of the solar system. And they're communicating. It's sending data back again. I know I find that just absolutely fascinating. I mean, I'm a nerd, but still, that's really, really cool. And then the other thing that's happened recently, and there's I'm gonna see if I can get some information on this. There's a documentary that talks about this. There's the famous Pasula, Mississippi alien abduction of 1973. 2 guys sitting on a dock, fishing at night, said they were abducted by aliens, and it was completely traumatic. And they went and told the local sheriff. And this is really interesting. This isn't like proof, but there's a smoking gun here. So the sheriff interviewed them, and they, separately and together, they told the same story. But then they left the room, and what they didn't tell the 2 guys is they left the microphones on and running. And so they captured their conversation while they were out of the room. And the guys are talking about the fact that no one's ever going to believe this. They're talking, everything they said in private was completely consistent with their story. So everyone's had a tendency to believe them that something happened to them. Well, here's the real amazing thing. It's like 51 years later, right? Okay. There's a woman who's come forward that said she saw them get abducted. She watched the whole thing from her car. Her name is Maria Blair, and she said she did not come forward before this because she did not want to be tagged as crazy. And so she must be in like around 70 now, but at least. But anyway, she says she saw this. She saw it happen. So and there's this came out in a documentary some guys made, and I got to track the documentary down. I tried to look for it today, I couldn't find it, but I'll see if I can get more on that for you, because that's kind of interesting. It's like Jesus, and the thing is, the guy said these aliens apparently looked really weird. Matter of fact, the two gentlemen, one of them has passed away now. It was 50 years ago. I mean, Christ. But they said that they kind of looked like robots. Not really, but kind of, sort of. And this woman confirmed their basic description of these aliens. She saw them. And the thing is, she might be making this up, but God almighty, I mean, these people, they're old, I mean, shit. And, there's probably no money in this anymore. I don't know if there ever was, she had no reason for doing this. And if she's looking for attention, she probably waited too long. But so I don't know. It's really interesting. But like I said, the two gentlemen, when they went to the police recorded their private conversation, and it was consistent with what they told the police. So, who knows? But it looks like something happened anyway. So, like I said, on Tuesday, we got Robert Powell. He's a scientist. He's a former head of research from MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, and he's currently a board of directors of, it's called the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. And that is a group of scientists who study UFOs. They call them UAPs, same goddamn thing. It's once again, the government's trying to change the narrative by changing terms. Yeah, like we haven't seen that before, huh? Like shit. Okay, so now here's the deal. I'm taking tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night off. We'll be back on Thursday with Jeff Meyer, publisher and CEO of Kong News, and we'll talk about what's happened over the last couple days, and then we're off till Monday as usual. So I'm taking the next 2 days off. I got some family business I got to take care of, and some business for the show too. So I want to thank you folks for watching. I want to thank the Month in Review panel. It's always nice to see those guys. A lot of fun. Good night, Esperanza. Good night, Uncle Donnie. And good night to you wherever you are. I'll see you on Thursday. Take care, everybody.